Just yesterday, news broke that you can now get wrapped XRP on the Ethereum network beginning in December. But is this actually good for XRP and XRP holders? Well, in this video, I'm going to talk about what some of the pros and some of the cons are, as well as some of the questions that the SEC may have to answer. And in other crypto news, Bitcoin miners earned a whopping $1.72 billion last month, earning record rewards for the amount of Bitcoin actually mined. I wonder if they're under the gun trying to get as much Bitcoin as possible into their accounts for what's coming in the next couple of months. And love him or hate him, Ben Armstrong, otherwise known as BitBoy Crypto, was actually on Fox Business giving an interview about cryptocurrencies, and he chose to bring up XRP. And he was talking about his opinion that a settlement is coming very, very shortly, and that XRP is about to go to the moon. And whether you think his opinion is actually valid or not, bringing the XRP conversation to a big stage like that, it's actually very good news for XRP holders. And in other investment market news, Elon Musk actually made an offer to the UN over Twitter. He told them that he would give them $6 billion if they could actually solve the world hunger problem, but they have to do it transparently over Twitter and tell Elon all the plans that they would have for the funds and where they would go. He would then sell his Tesla stock and hand them over $6 billion. The ball is in your court, UN. And also, December typically means one of the biggest months for crypto, and I'm going to talk about why CoinShares is actually sharing some of the new information they have on what institutional investors are actually buying on the crypto side that could provide some insights for you on what you may want to look into for the month of December. Hey everyone, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. And right now on this channel, I'm covering the Ripple versus SEC case along with other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any of those topics interest you and you want to follow along, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Also hit that bell notification icon so YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. And if you're feeling really generous today, I'd really appreciate it if you do two things. Number one, smash that thumbs up button. And number two, watch this video all the way to the end. Those are the two best things that you can do to support a YouTube channel. If you do that, I greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, let's jump into it. So the first bit of news I actually want to cover today is what CoinShares just released on some of their institutional buying habits of some of their biggest buyers that are showing the biggest interest in specific crypto tokens on their digital asset network. Now, CoinShares is actually a digital fund management, and people don't actually buy the cryptocurrencies through their funds, but this information can provide kind of a guide, or at least that's something I'm going to be keeping an eye on, as to what institutional money are actually making their capital purchases through at the end of the year. Now, this goes back to what I said about December being a big month, and that's because, in my opinion, I think a lot of companies are actually making capital purchases by the end of the year. So what's a capital purchase? Well, it's basically when companies have leftover money at the end of the year, they typically spend it on something that's going to improve the value of their company or add maybe a new piece of machinery, make investments into the company rather than simply just paying tax on that money and losing that money to taxes. Well, I believe institutional money are now starting to buy things like Bitcoin ETFs, whether the futures or the spot-based kind, or things like Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, or Grayscale Ethereum Trust, or any other kind of trust, really. And CoinShares just released some interesting news about what their investors are doing on their network. Of course, Bitcoin being the big one, but with the Bitcoin ETF, the futures-based ETF that just came out, this week did $268 million, which is much lower than the previous week, which did $1.5 billion. They also pointed out that after 3 weeks of outflows, Ethereum finally posted 1 week of inflows in the amount of about $16 million, followed by Solana, which did about $8 million in inflows. And still filling up the interest is Cardano, doing about $5 million in inflows, which the week prior, it also did about $5 million in inflows. So again, this is largely the institutional buyers, and if you want to keep track of maybe something to keep an eye on come December, this is what institutional buyers are keeping an eye on now, so it's going to be interesting to see if there's any correlation between that and what's going to happen in December. Speaking of big news that's going to happen in December, it was just announced yesterday that XRP will be available in wrapped form on the Ethereum network. Now, some say this is big news. This is the biggest news to happen to XRP in 2 years. I kind of disagree. And others have basically thrown water on it and said this is about as useless as it sounds. And honestly, there's some really good points on both sides. Now, the upside would be that, of course, XRP has to actually be purchased for it to be wrapped and used on the Ethereum network. And not only that, you'll actually be able to use your XRP for things like DeFi protocols and smart contracts, even though you can now use smart contracts on the XRPL ledger. And of course, you can also use OneChain, which is a DeFi application on the XRPL ledger. But nonetheless, some people say, yes, but if you have millions and millions of XRP that you just want to stake and earn a percentage return on, then you can now do that on the Ethereum platform. And that's correct. But a lot of people are talking about the ridiculously high gas fees that Ethereum has. And they're 100% right. I mean, the point that the average XRP holder really isn't going to want to spend $800 to move $500 worth of XRP or wrapped XRP onto a DeFi protocol on the Ethereum network. And what a lot of people are now noticing is that Ethereum is really almost unusable at this point because the gas fees are just sky high. In fact, someone on Twitter basically said it's like taking your Lambo and putting it on a city bus and driving the city bus around when the Lambo would use far less fuel, is much faster, but still you want to drive around in that city bus while sitting in your Lambo. Kind of doesn't make sense. And I get both sides of it. But here's where I really have some questions on things, and these are questions that I want to ask the SEC. Because Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, has been saying over and over and over that there is total and complete clarity in the crypto space. And he won't say it specifically, but you know he's talking about XRP because of their lawsuit. Well, here's a question that I want to ask Gary Gensler and the SEC. Now that you can get wrapped XRP on the Ethereum network, which will be an ERC20 token, and if you've been following some of the conspiracy theories, you'll see that a lot of exchanges allow all versions of ERC20 tokens. Keep in mind Luna, which Luna is not traded on Coinbase. However, wrapped Luna is because it's an ERC20 token. ERC20 token, of course, is an Ethereum token. So SEC, I have a question for you, and that is, I want to know if you guys think XRP is actually a security and Ethereum is not a security, it's actually a commodity. Would that make wrapped XRP a secure commodity or a commoditized security? Or would that be a commodity acting on behalf of a security while being lent or spent on interoperable ledgers? Or is it a representation of a security with the merits of a commodity, but the expectation of a profits like a security based on the efforts of Ethereum? I'm asking for a friend. And I'm sure the SEC will know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm sure there's complete clarity about exactly what I'm asking. I mean, it's got to be out there somewhere, right? I mean, whether XRP is actually a security is very clear, and, you know, having it be wrapped on the Ethereum network should even make things even more clear, correct? Well, anyway, if you want to join me and ask the SEC that question, you can always do so on Twitter. I'll have a link in the description down below. You can follow me on Twitter, where I follow this story along with many others in the crypto space, so you can go and follow me there. And of course, if you want to find out what is happening with the SEC versus Ripple case, you're going to want to follow my channel, because anytime there is breaking news, I make sure to make a video about it. But once again, thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end and for the big thumbs up. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.